Hey, my apologies if any of the was it 7 or 5 vlogs about the current state of VIU's Muslim program. It's hilarious. It's not me. Like they posted that stuff. Don't look at me. Like ask them why they would post that stuff. Anyways, I'm back to trying to finish my 3-year Master of Science to develop an ecocentric worldview readings. Okay. So, anyways, remember I was on page 16 to end, and it said I CC'd the British Columbia Federation of Students World Leisure Organization. Um, and I'm not sure it was that union I ended up CCing for students, but more on that later. Page 17 is Appendix 1, okay? This is pretty intense because I haven't reviewed it in a while, and I kind of want to see if I've done anything more. So, my academic career with a deadline of June 26, 2017, almost 6 years ago, was that goal, although the letter was written earlier, will consist of working towards these achievable goals. In my mind, if I accomplish 10 of these, I will consider and claim meeting the criteria for an MA. Except that, I ended up deciding to just do the Master of Science Ecocentric Worldview. But I do try to be specific that I have a second cycle diploma, which is an MA, but without the thesis, and I've demonstrated enough, and I will demonstrate even more in reading the emails from PhD professors that, without thesis supervisors willing to step up, you can't really finish your thesis part. Okay, so the first bullet is complete a well polished introduction for my thesis promoting more memes of ecocentrism within the K 12 curriculum. Now, I read to you the draft of the introduction, and because I didn't finish polishing it, like for example, inserting the uh, the exact references, I didn't include this as one of the things done. Send this thesis introduction to the BC Ministry of Education with my request for support while keeping a log of their responses, which I will evaluate for the presence of any true conviction. So I did read you guys that 4-page letter. I didn't read you guys that response. I will include it in the next video or two. So I didn't include that either as one thing, although I believe probably it should be now because I think I wrote that before I wrote the letter, and the letter was mailed with, registered mail that it was confirmed, and there was a response later. It was just ridiculous. They just thought I was applying for a job or something. That's how they interpreted the letter. Third bullet, to find 3 famous people who will sponsor some of my work on creating a paradigm shift, either through elevating general public awareness or addressing humanity's need for future planning, collaboration, and ecocentrism. Nope, was not able. And I tried a few different things. Didn't try all the time that much, but tried, and this might happen in the future anyways or not. Create a Captain Accountability Facebook page. No, but I did create a YouTube channel, but still didn't write any of these as one of the 10 so far. Define sustainable leisure management in a way that integrates resilience and innovation. Done, because of my definition in this letter that was earlier read. Okay. Conduct 9 socio-cybernetic experiments on cultural repair that I will demonstrate in my YouTube videos. You guys don't have the clearance for this information, but I didn't write done because 9. I don't know if I'm up to close to 9 at this point, and I don't always express that's what they are. So far only 1. Courier to Dr. Aggie Wayhill my leave of absence and disappointment letter about the Muslim program. Done. That was it. That was, depending how you respond, I will, either get out of the program or whatever. And their responses will be demonstrated in future readings that have been really ridiculous. Document 25 ecocentric humanist mimetic successes for publication. Didn't write done. and that's kind of a bit complicated to explain. Write and receive a letter in response from Elizabeth May of the Green Party. I wrote to a few different people, and you get the generic response, where they're trying to get money for the party, and that's pretty much it. Oh, I did get a Green Party person one time. I don't know if it was MLA or MP, and you can really tell that person needs counseling. And I don't know, I could read that if you want. Um, Write a 4-page description of what it is like to suffer from species alienation. I wrote about this. I can't remember. I have to go look where those documents are. I did get published in Humanist Perspectives, where I mentioned this and sent that publication to a few people. But I didn't write done for that. Post online and reference how I live by my own prime directive, written while participating in the personal development course called The Inside Passage. I didn't read you guys this stuff, but it is in Appendix 5, so I could read it later, but I think I might have updated it with some a better wording a little bit later, so that's part of one of my 2 resumes, actually. So far, still only 2. Write of 25 collaborative relationships I have created promoting education about what is truly important. Oh man, I met a lot of people that talk the talk, but walking the talk, no, I can't say if I'm even, 25. No, I'm sorry, I'm not even sure I have one right now when it comes to walking the talk. Make friends with 8 like-minded people. Yeah, that would mean I've met 8 Homo sapiens. Can't give you that one. Write to and get a response from David Suzuki about ecocentrism. When I wrote first starting the David Suzuki Foundation and found out, wow, be careful putting your name on something because you kind of lose your own name pretty quick when the monetary paradigm takes over there. Write to and get a response from Robin Asimov about ecocentric humanism. I did try to reach her one time, trying to offer some of my feedback before the Apple series on her dad's stories got too developed. Never heard back. So yeah, can't get that one. Document 4 positive community impacts in which I have instigated or participated in while keeping my environmental impact to a minimum. I could document this, except that most of this is actually, the butterfly effect. It's not like there was collaborative community involvement. It's just that later on a few things can be measured to have changed and likely as a result to, my passage through that community. So unfortunately, can't do that. Can't find human communities, can't find human collaborations. Contact 6 other universities around the world concerning ecocentrism and the possibility of continuing my studies and research with them. I probably did more than that, and I haven't been documenting it, so I can't show the evidence of this, and so I can't put it as something right now. In 2017, conduct a presentation to the Muslim past, present, and future cohorts, as well as the faculty, about my solo accomplishments. Perhaps also host a ceremonial opening of the time capsule from our cohort. Yeah, as you may have already know, they banned me from campus, and I'll try to find that recording in the office where they gave me that letter. It's freaking hilarious, and unfortunately also, I just went and got my time capsule. I heard some things about some of my classmates and their spouses that had done some generational trauma repeating as well, so there might be trauma linked even to the time capsule project, which a person was discovered later to have done some very bad things where, let's say, they wouldn't be able to work with the vulnerable sector or their own kids. So don't want to get too much into the details there, but yeah, so I mean, time always kind of uncovers who people really are. So if you want to be a good person, just start living more and more transparently. You'll see you'll end up making better choices. So far, still only a 2. Write an essay about the possibility of conscious, controlled, and voluntary paradigm shifts. No comment right now, okay? Because I need peers to comment on this, let's say. Record 2 meaningful songs relating to sustainability, human impacts on the global ecosystem, and how we all contribute to shifts in global consciousness. Hey, I didn't write done there yet, but I'm adding done for this, and it is one of the, the one the Kenny Rogers song I rewrote last 60 years, the way I say it, And the other one is a Roger Miller song where I invite people to talk about HSD and what's been happening to the human condition. So it's like it's a video entitled "Invitation 2 or 3" or something like that, and it's a song. Well, I say where have the elusive sapiens gone? Okay, so I'm going to say yes for this one for 3. Other than my Facebook page, get published at least 500 words in 3 paper or online publications that get more than 5,000 readers. I'm going to say done for this, although it's kind of hard to demonstrate this, but I mean, there's the humanist perspective, which is later put online for free, and a lot of people can see. There's at least 3 I published in the Comox Valley newspaper. And create and facilitate a Philosopher's Cafe brainstorming group in my community. I did that in Courtney. Again, that went in the paper, the invitation for that. That was a few years ago. Create an ecocentric paradigm questionnaire. Are you ecocentric? Oh, that's one I didn't do yet. I wanted to follow up the Dr. Riley Dunlap with that and send it to him, but that would have been a part 2 with him. But he recently answered me a few weeks ago, and again I answered him, and again no responses after that. So he's going on 80 years old, but that would have been something I wanted to do in relation to him. It would have been like the New Environmental or Ecological Paradigm Volume 3, and it would have been nice to do a video. I don't need him, but I might eventually do that when I feel like it. Although the course will end, eventually I'll probably do that anyways. So I'm not counting that. Create an outline for my future foundation university, the BA, the MA, the PhD. And again, I did admit in some of my psychohistory videos that one of the main reasons I rode my motorcycle from the National Capital Region of Canada to Vancouver Island in 2002 was to hopefully find and accomplish myself enough, right, in my own personal and professional development, which I've done a lot of, to eventually associate with a university at a level where that would be a university on the island that would be entirely giving only one type of BA, MA, and eventually PhD that had specific themes to develop responsible global citizens, let's say. And then I discovered more and more about the human condition, about HSD, about what was happening in post-secondary institutions, how tipping points had passed, and all this. I mean, it's still not a bad idea if I had the support, but I know it'd be still a losing battle, right? I have that knowledge. Doesn't mean you don't do that battle just for the sake of not selling your humanity away. So, but I mean, without support. I mean, I'm sure Jordan B. Peterson thinks he's doing something like this in Greece, but good luck with that, get 3 letters of reference from VIU's Muslim faculty members in 2017. Yep, not at all. Hey, is that it? No, I'm pretty sure I had done 10 already. Why didn't I? Oh, okay, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there's a few more. There is an updated page of this. I thought that was the one. But I did meet the 10 guys. I'm sorry I have to review this. I don't want to press pause. Let me just read. Did I already read the letter that Candace, Appendix 2, gave me as a reference? I'm not sure. Then Appendix 3 is my letter of statement of purpose. For the Muslim, I'm going to skip the statement of purpose paragraph, the personal history paragraph, relevant education and work experience, and I'm going to get to, well, actually, where is it written? Well, I'm going to read the last paragraph of that 2-page, kind of went to 3-page a little bit with this PDF format. I am very interested in the impact of human population on the environment and how it may have serious consequences for the Earth's complex ecosystems. I say may, but I already know. These are areas of study from which I may choose to prepare my thesis. I am also interested in lecturing on these topics as a way to finance my retirement. So the other topics were Gaia theory, Earth system science, mindfulness, and the idea of having a sense of spiritual connection with nature, which would have been, linked to the ecocentric worldview. So I was very clear in my letter of intent, And then Appendix 4 is describing what the eco-humanist philosopher's cafe was, and it defined critical thinking. I'll read it to you here. I chose the National Council of Excellence for Excellence in Critical Thinking defines critical thinking as. Let me know if you think I've been walking the talk in my life with this definition as a critical thinker. And by the way, in my critical thinking series on my YouTube channel, there is one that says a critical thinker would automatically walk the talk, not just talk about the theory. The intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief and action. Do you notice how it doesn't say indoctrination or domestication as a way to become a better critical thinker? So you can tell how much your ability to become critical thinkers has been compromised by what my theory talks about, the variety of the human domestication syndromes that are now on steroids off the charts even since before I was born, that is no longer allowing you guys to save yourselves. The Doctor of Humanics offers his definition of ecocentric humanism, a philosophy or perspective that places intrinsic value on all living organisms and their natural environments, regardless of their perceived usefulness or importance to human beings. It is a doctrine, attitude, or way of life centered on the natural world as a priority coming before human interests. It is a philosophy that rejects supernaturalism unless this supernaturalism, so leniency, tolerance here, serves a spiritual need in helping humanity reconnect with the global ecological system in which it evolved and still belongs. Ecocentric humanism stresses an individual's dignity and worth and capacity for self-realization through reason, but not at the expense of other important components within Mother Earth. Okay, so aside from the definition of critical thinking, which I had chosen from this particular website, the rest is my own definition of this ecocentric humanist philosopher's cafe that I had done for a while in Courtenay on Vancouver Island. Now, you also know that more than a year ago, I've said that humanism is no longer a worldview I believe in because the people primates are no longer capable of it due to HSD. They are no longer able to self-correct. And then Appendix 5 is my prime directive, and I don't know if I've updated it since then. Might as well. I'm going to read it now. It's a long video, but it closes off a lot of stuff, so you can know me and why I've chosen these priorities, which has created a lot of hardships in my life. To persist, that's the title, by the way, and then there's 10 points, or 10 commandments, if you want. The ecocentric humanist's prime directive. Again, I've been calling myself the ecocentric matured man from Earth now, instead of humanist. To persist in bringing forth powerful intentions towards creating various agents of evolution through appropriate use of style, the spreading of relevant ideas, the role modeling of useful behaviors, and mimetic awareness. Instructions for living, code of ethics. Number 1. I think this is not actually my most updated draft, but anyways, this is the one where I did in that course, which was the 4th personal development course, extremely expensive, that lasted an entire weekend, and that had a lot of personal development homework to do after, so you wouldn't sleep a lot because you'd be like working on this a lot after the course and presenting it to the class. And this is what I decided to do, and I presented it to my class, and it turned out that it was my favorite of these courses. And it was totally new people I had in this one compared to the other 3 that I did before. The Pursuit of Excellence, the Wall, and the Advancement of Excellence, I think it was called. I can't even find that diploma anymore where all 3 were on it. That was expensive, and a lot of it was life skills lessons, capitalistically, beefed up to be more expensive, really. And it's, and often people would lose these skills later on because there was no ongoing human community. They would stay connected and remind themselves of these skills or learn more and kind of grow into human communities. So really it was kind of they said on the island, they said, oh, if there's a course you're not 100% satisfied, you get reimbursed. Well, the second one I wasn't, or was the third one, and didn't get reimbursed. And I did, I expressed it, and I don't know, I think they were just training somebody new, and because they decided not to keep that facilitator for that course, that I shouldn't get a refund. I don't know. That's exactly why I or anybody else that calls them on their accountability should get a refund. But anyways, as I said, there's a big difference between talking the talk and walking the talk. And these 10 things, people were very impressed in my class when I read this. I was surprised they wanted me to read all 10 of them at the end of this Inside Passage course on that weekend with a different facilitator. That was very good. And a different group, and everybody invested, again, all of their 100% in it. And they wanted me to read everything, and I did admit when I read this, I said, I'm already kind of like this at this point. This is not an effort for me to behave in these ways, but this is my code of ethics. It comes to me naturally. Number one, I embrace the uniqueness of my brain functioning and seek continuous growth of the awareness of both its great abilities and of its untapped potential. I continue to learn the patterns, the modes used for its wiring, the compounds needed to nourish it to optimum performance, and, finally, its functions of emergence towards creating the onset of a global brain both in myself and others. Number two, I am genuine, congruent, and consistent in passing on memes that promote the healing and sense of wellness that will allow humankind, and since then I've been saying Homo communion kind, because, there's no such thing as Homo sapiens, the ability to remember the experience of wholeness that will reconnect it to the planetary system in which Homo sapiens continue to evolve. So, the Homo communion I'm talking about. I seek full accountability and fulfillment for myself and also for the various communities in which I belong. I make links to these thought patterns and how they can promote the paradigm shift that will cause all humans to accept that planetary stewardship begins with an objective and impartial look at our own species. Then and only then can we hope to fulfill our desire to improve our abilities both in charting a course for the ways we evolve and in planning the future we choose for ourselves on a planet that can run itself with or without us. Number four, I practice full participation when experiencing the moment, observing my thoughts, role modeling efficient life skills, listening with care and concern, pursuing excellence, defending the oppressed, and spreading goodwill for all of the Earth's larger ecosystem brothers and sisters. And I'm not saying that the microorganisms aren't important. I'm just saying there's a limit of how much I can interact with them and role model, for example, right? 5. Although I believe everyone capable of change leading to great things, I accept the fact that my one and only true task will always be to be my own best friend and start by creating change within myself. Speaking of Be Your Own Best Friend, that's a song that was very powerful during the first, I think, the Pursuit of Excellence that they put on at a very specific time that is very psychologically powerful. It was so hard for me to get a audio file of that song. Now I can finally find it on the internet, but I'm not sure that it was before. And it's an old country song, but it was made kind of nicer from a different artist later on, and they had a version of it, and most people don't know it, and it's very powerful. And for me, it's linked to personal development, and I would also present it in my own courses or with students. But the fact they made it hard for me to get that after I gave them thousands of dollars, you can really tell. Yeah, personal development that has that kind of cost in it makes people that offer it lose their own humanity. So there's a limit of how much you should see them as role models or mentors. Number 6, I am someone who loves and cares about all things very deeply while at the same time balancing sustainably my abilities for letting go. I realize that closing doors allows me to make space for new experiences and refreshes my intentions to be open to new opportunities. 7. I am whole and complete in every moment, even when I don't feel connected to Gaia or humanity, and simply realize I am one among billions and billions of Earth's isolates. Sorry, I don't know how to do Carl Sagan's imitation there for billions and billions. In my journey of lifelong learning, I focus on innovative trial and error and realize I only need to rely on my innate tendency for resilience when encountering pitfalls, failures, walls, resistance, and the inevitable truth that Re-epiphanies are some of the ways I will experience being human. This is entirely me writing this. None of this came from anywhere else. It's a big combination and putting together of a lot of the personal development I'd done over the years on Vancouver Island. I never forget, that's number 9, that the synergy of being thy own true self in all ways does not conflict with the concept of desire or the seeking of success in making connections and enjoying collectives. It does, but doesn't need to. And you can do both. You'll just have a lot less social connections. Number 10. I hope the recording, there's not a lot of space, so I have to go quick. Being an evolving sentient creature, I realize that my ability to be self aware, collaborate, or have impact in the world will constantly fluctuate, and I therefore practice true humanism. I can. In the matter of following the scientific method and accepting that my destiny, life purpose, instructions for living, and even my prime directive are fluid and subject to change. And again, this is making sure that if ever this is seen in the future, don't make it one of those you can't make it better, or it's the best it can be, or it's divine, or it's the Constitution, or the whatever it is, politically speaking, that's outdated. Because I've already updated it a little bit. This is just the original version. So, guys, that's it. And I hope that you were able to stand for this long. And got to go get outside a little bit and walk.